good? It's Khalil Jamar. Hope that all is well with you guys. If this is your first time on my channel, welcome. If this is not your first time on my channel, welcome back. Now today I'm going to be talking about female powerlifters like Clara Peyraud and how they're able to deadlift so much weight. And the reason I'm using Clara's name is because of what she did recently within powerlifting. And if you don't know who she is, she's a 21-year-old powerlifter from France. She just unofficially broke the record, the junior IPF record deadlift. She broke this record by deadlifting 508 pounds at a body weight of only 153 pounds. There are other girls such as Clara who can deadlift an insane amount of weight. Some of these girls include Crandon Warford and Laura Madelon. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Even though they're a little bit heavier, they're about 10 pounds heavier than Clara. Regardless, they deadlift a lot of weight for their size. When I saw this and when I heard about Clara deadlifting this amount of weight, the first thing I thought to myself is, how does someone at that size, especially a female, get to the point where they can deadlift that amount of weight? When I say especially for a female, I'm just saying that women are not supposed to be as strong as a man is. It's just science. It's biology. It's not my fault. But when I do see a female, a woman, a girl, whoever deadlift this amount of weight or show an extreme display of strength, I do take a look at it and I do respect it a lot. I respect it so much that I want to figure out how they're doing it. But there are a few things that I think I noticed about Clara's deadlift and how she trains that it has allowed her to deadlift that amount of weight, especially for her size. First, when you deadlift, now depending on the amount of weight, like if you're deadlifting 135, a plate on each side, and that's it, you can get away with just using your lower back. But as you get heavier, as you start to deadlift more weight, you need to learn how to push through the ground using your quads to get the weight off the floor. And the first thing I look at when I look at Clara is the stance that she's using. She's using a sumo stance. A lot of people will argue that there's a advantage that you have when you sumo deadlift. I don't really think there's a advantage or disadvantage. I think it just depends on who you are and what works best. And when you look at women when they deadlift, the sumo stance does work better for them. Why? Part of the reason is women have wider hips than men do, and part of the other reason is they have a lot more hip flexibility and hip more mobility. So the sumo stance might be a little bit more comfortable for women to use when they're deadlifting. So when I look at Clara using this, she's using the most optimal stance she can to make sure she gets the most amount of weight off the floor, which is all powerlifting is about. When you do use the sumo stance deadlift, the reason a lot of people say that there's an advantage in using that stance is not only because it shortens the amount of distance that you have to pull the weight off the ground, but you can bring your quads into the lift a lot more and take a lot of the strain off of your lower back when deadlifting. I did notice as well about Clara that when she does squat, she uses a very narrow stance when she squats, and I think it's important to mention this because using a narrow stance helps to improve glute, hamstring, back, and quad strength. It especially increases and helps to increase quad strength, which that's really what you're bringing in to the sumo deadlift. That's one of the main differences between conventional and sumo. You can bring your quads into the lift a lot more to help you get the weight off the floor. And even though in the sumo deadlift it takes a lot of the stress off of your back, you still need a strong back to deadlift that amount of weight. So again, I think the way she squats, because it does help to increase her back strength and her quad strength, I think that strength she's building through using a narrow stance squat is just translating over to when she sumo deadlifts. I do want to point out as well, and I think this is impressive, is that Clara over the last 4 years has remained the same weight and gotten stronger. Usually you'll see somebody gain weight and get stronger. Very rarely do you see somebody lose weight and get stronger. To give you an example, over the last 2 years, she's been able to increase her in-meet deadlift by over 50 pounds. Now, I do believe that it has to do with how she's eating, her diet as a powerlifter. I do think it has to do with her training routine as a powerlifter, but I think one of the more obvious reasons is that she's young. She's only 21 years old. She's a junior and she has not reached her peak strength yet. Most women reach their peak strength between the ages of 26 and 37. Again, Clara is just 21 years old, so she's still on that climb toward her peaks, and on that climb she's training like a power lifter, eating like a power lifter, so she's even increasing the potential for her peak. So it's just going to be exciting to see what she's going to do a few years from now. Those are some of the reasons I do believe that Clara is able to deadlift an insane amount of weight for her size. I think that the sumo stance that she uses is the most optimal position for her to use. I think that when she I think that the fact that she squats very narrow, that the strength she's building in her quads, in her lower back, that strength I think is translating from squats over to deadlifts. And I think age, she's still young, but she's still young. But like I said, she's only going to get better. She has not reached her peak yet. It's going to be crazy to see what she does in the future. I do want to say too, I might have mentioned this earlier, I just think that what she did is extremely impressive. I think it's good for women in the sport of powerlifting to show that they can be strong too, and that they're stronger than a lot of women in powerlifting are stronger than the average man. I think it's a good thing that we're seeing that. Hopefully it pushes some men to get stronger as well. But congratulations to her for unofficially breaking the record. And if she continues on the path she's on, the record will officially be broken. But guys, that is the end of the video. Thank you for watching. If there's anything I missed or didn't mention in the video about why powerlifters like Clara are able to deadlift so much weight and deadlift over 500 pounds, again, especially at 150 something pounds, definitely leave that in the comment section. But guys, thank you for watching. Make sure that you do like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys later.